So let me first draw the problem. Let's say X, Y, and Z, and with theta. Your mass M, N, and the distance is origin, and the distance is L. Okay, so the problem is something like this. We have two spherical masses M and M, the same with the same magnitude, which are connected by a stick of massless a massless stick, right? So let's say example 3. Masses connected to a massless stick, rotating about z-axis with angular velocity omega, right, and tilted by angle theta with respect to the, let's say, z-axis in this case, right? It doesn't matter. We can the choice of axis will show that choice of axis can actually change depending on what you want to do, right? So anyway, this is the problem. So there are two masses which are connected by a massless stick, okay, and their center is coinciding with the origin. They are rotating, right, tilted at an angle theta. They are rotating about this. For time being, yeah, let's call it z-axis, but anyway, I'll change it later. So z-axis, right, and now we have to find out the angular momentum of the system, and then the torque acting on the system if the angular momentum is actually not a constant. Okay, so let's try to do this problem. And what we do is, so of course this problem can be done in many ways. Since the idea is to demonstrate different techniques that we have discussed previously, let us do this problem by using the inertia tensor. Right? So what we basically mean by that is, we know that angular momentum can be written as I omega, right? Where we know that this is my omega vector. Okay. So given the angular velocity is like this, and now of course we know that this inertia tensor has 9 components, 6 independent, and all that. But we also know that if we could choose a particular set of axis called principal axis, then actually we can reduce this problem. So choosing principal axis as coordinate axis, right? Now we can write down L as Ixx omega x, let's say I cap plus I yy omega y, j cap plus I zz omega z in k cap direction, right? So if we can make that choice, then we can actually write L as this simpler expression and then try to find out these values, right? Okay, so now first of all, what could be the principal axis for this system, right? So again, since this is a nice symmetrical system, we can define the principal axis as, so one along this stick, so along the length of this system, let me write down, so let's say this is my principal axis number 1, and then I choose my x-axis. So forget about the coordinate system that we used previously. I write this omega, and just to represent direction of omega, I can take this as the n cap, right? So let us choose my axis number 1 principal axis about the x direction, or rather the coordinate x about this principal axis, which is then along the length of the system. Another one perpendicular to this, so second, and I'll call it as y, right? And the third one coming out of the board of the paper, out of the plane of the board, right? And this will be third, or I can call it z, right? And now we have to analyze the motion of this system, right? So we can angle theta. Now at this instance, right, since the system is in principal axis, the coordinates are same as the principal axis. I can find the angular momentum if I find out Ixx, Ixy, Izz, and omega x, omega y, omega z. Right. Now for this system, omega is pointing in the n cap direction, which makes an angle theta with the x-axis, right, and well 90 minus theta with the y-axis. So what we'll see is we can write down omega as omega x I cap plus omega y j cap plus omega z k cap, where I cap, j cap, k cap are defined like this. So I cap, j cap, and then k cap is coming out of the plane of the board, right? And omega x is then, let me just check. Anyway, you can try to find out what is omega x here. So this is the angle. Then omega x will be omega cos theta, omega y is omega sin theta. So this is omega cos theta, omega y is omega sin theta, and omega z equal to 0. Right? So this is my angular velocity. Similarly, I can also find what is the moment of inertia of the system about these three directions. So Ixx along this stick, okay, half mr square, and there is no perpendicular distance from the axis. So Ixx is going to be 0. Iyy, for these two masses, the perpendicular distance we can find out, it's simply L from the axis. So Iyy will be ml square for this mass, ml square for this mass, so twice ml square. And similarly, Izz by symmetry, because Izz is just a perpendicular axis, is also 2 ml square. Right? Okay. If this is the case, then now I can write down my total angular momentum as Ixx omega x, so 0, Iyy omega y, which is w sin theta, yes, so 2 ml omega square omega sin theta, j cap plus Izz omega z is 0, so nothing. Okay. So this is then the total angular momentum of this system. L is 2 ml square omega sin theta in j cap direction, right? And j cap again is not a lap fixed coordinate direction. J cap is the y coordinate of the chosen principal axis. So this is not fixed in lap frame. In fact, we know that this is going to rotate. As the stick rotates, the j cap is also going to rotate in lap frame. However, the magnitude is not going to change. The magnitude of angular momentum is simply 2 ml square omega sin theta j cap in principal axis. Okay. So this is one part where we could have done this analysis directly without invoking this relationship, but it also shows that how we can apply the principal axis, how we can choose principal axis as coordinate axis, and then try to get the total angular momentum for the system. Okay. Now let's extend this, and since we know that my angular momentum is going to rotate with the system, right? So that means there is a change. So now can we also find out the torque in the system, right? Or the torque applied. Okay. So for that now, what we need to do is, let me redraw it now, because once we get angular momentum, I don't have to worry about the principal axis anymore. So let us redraw this diagram. Now let's call it x, y, z, and now these are lap fixed or space fixed coordinate axis, and in that the rod is oriented like this. So at angle theta, mass, length, this is my origin, and we know that the L points in this direction. Okay. Which is perpendicular to this, so with the z-axis it makes 90 minus theta angle, and we can also write it down in terms of now space-based directions. However, now what happens is, as the raw stick moves, the L also traces out a circle with angular velocity omega about this z-axis, right? And so now, and of course, if the L is making a rotation, that means there is torque. So we can find out torque. We know that torque can be written as dl over dt is for a rotating system will be omega cross L, right? Now in this case again we can decompose this angular momentum L, total angular momentum L about the z direction Lz, which is a fixed component which does not change, so there is no torque because of that, and a horizontal component, so let's call it LH, which instantaneously is pointing in this direction, but this LH is basically going to rotate in this xy plane, right? So that means my torque for this system is dLH over dt, which is then nothing but omega LH. Okay, so now all we have to do is find out what is this LH, and then we can find out what is the torque in the system. So let's write down this LH. Now LH is the horizontal component of this, of the total angular momentum L, and rotating in the xy plane. So first of all, LH magnitude is basically L cos theta. Right? You can check it from there. L vertical will be L sin theta. This will be L cos theta. And now, since it's rotating, at any instant it will have two components, Lx and Ly, right, which are then basically going in circular motion. So Lx will be Lh cos omega t, and this will be Lh sin omega t, right? This is Lx and Ly, and of course then Lh will be also Lxi plus Lyj, and if we the magnitude will be then similar. Right. So now what I can do is, now I can write down the torque. Let me just write down the expression for torque. So now what you can do is you can write down the torque tau as dLH over dt, which is nothing but omega LH. So, well, just omega LH cos omega t I cap plus sin omega t j cap, right? So this is the torque, and its magnitude can then be found out by getting these components and then squaring and adding. So for this, so this is tau x square plus tau y square, where tau x is, well, instead of LH I'll put L cos theta, and for L I can put 2ml square omega sin theta. So this will then give me 2 ml square omega square cos theta sin theta cos omega t. Similarly, tau in y direction is 2 ml square omega square cos theta sin theta sin omega t, right? And therefore tau is then squaring and adding these two, and what we'll get is 2 ml square omega square cos theta sin theta, because of course this cos square omega t plus sin square omega t will give us 1, so the magnitude of tau is simply going to be this. And now from here we can see that 2 ml square omega sin theta is nothing but the magnitude of total angular momentum. So I can write it down as L cos theta omega. Or L omega cos theta. So, which is again the same thing that the torque is only because of the horizontal component, whose magnitude is basically L cos theta, and this is L sin theta, right? Okay. So this way we could analyze these problems using different techniques or different formalisms that we have discussed previously, right? And that would finish the content for this week. And in the next week we will further these analysis to include more discussion on this inertia tensor, and then how to relate torque and kinetic energy to angular velocity, angular momentum, and this inertia tensor.